going on, everybody? Today we got some big news for Tribe 9, a director letter from Soejima, and I got a lot to say about it. So I've already read the notes, and I'm just going to condense it for you in case you want to read all. There's a lot going on. First and foremost, thanks everybody for being patient. It took us a while to get the next update out, but we think you're gonna love it. Chapter 3, Dead History, comes for vengeance. It's a mouthful. Last one was a beast within. The next city, it's not the Chiyoda we saw in the anime. Things are a little different around here, a little more vibrant. The sun is out and the maid girls are plentiful. We love it. We also introduce the new numbers Zenichi, Magata. Ain't got no shoes on. What's going on? What's going on with that tattoo, bro? That's a little... How to point out the grippers. Anyway, this is a chapter that will deal with Zengata's desire for communication and Q's backstory regarding Neo Chiyoda as a whole. And they're just like, hey, in case you want to see what we're talking about, we did make an entire anime going over some of the events that will happen in Neo Chiyoda, or at least referencing them regarding the Otori family. So check that out. Now, this is pretty big. They've adjusted the difficulty level, and a considerable amount of time and effort has been put into catering to hardcore players, but not alienating newcomers. So they pretty much just said, hey, people are busted now in Chapter 2. We have to increase the enemy difficulty level, but we don't want to alienate people that were already struggling in Chapter 2. This makes total sense. So to get around this, they've added some shortcuts for players who have full mark stickers right out of the gate, which is impressive design. I never would have thought of that. Like, oh, yeah, there's just some shortcuts. There's really challenging fights in there, but it technically expedites the chapter for you. Interesting. Very interesting design. We'll have to see how it plays out. These routes have new higher level enemies, encourage you to unlock the new level cap, strengthen your characters, and take on Neo Chiyoda's many cities. Chiyoda, okay. Furthermore, we're adding new Patamon with new effects. This is Japanese, but a new HP effect. What is that? To my knowledge, that Patamon, that's old, right? But I guess they're saving them for the new rifts, and we'll get to the new rifts. Additionally, they're updating the par system. We'll get to that. I think it's a good change for the record, but yes, Hina Guki Akiba. Her last name is literally Akiba. She lives in Akihabara. You can't make that up. So I've been checking out the trailer pretty much all morning. She's so cute. I'm sorry. I don't... Duh, right? Like, I'm stating the obvious. But the way she just, like... Look at this. Oh my gosh, she rocks. So not a tank like we thought she would be. Despite this, she does use the hegemony ability. Get a sneak peek at the new ninja character, which will, be a month out or so. Super cool animations. They go over her moves. We're going to, talk about that when we get, like, the guide and get my hands on the character. But, oh, she does a combo. She poses. It's adorable. But this is the big thing. Let's just talk about the ult. Give a second. We're talking about strategy skill. It apparently is like most of her damage, but the ult grants enemies attention, but decreases defense point. To my knowledge, the only character that could do that was Gio, and he was really good at it. This is an ult. We already know that it costs like 100 attention. That's big. That's big. But they say at first glance, she appears to just be an ordinary maid with gigantic robot hands. Sure, she may have a connection to the Otori family. Is she gonna have a tragic backstory, Tribe 9? Don't play with me. What's going on there? Okay. She's an empire overwhelming. Okay, she's a character. She's awesome. She's gonna be out before you know it. But she inflicts attention on everybody, does this like heart move, and lowers defense. And I guess like pulls everyone to her. That's big. That's big. The effects allow Hinagiku to serve as a tank, protecting party members similar to Saigo and Q. This update will also include many additions that expand the synergy of hegemony tension cards. So I guess that means more tension cards. Possibly. They're saying here that she is a tank, but dog, her punches did not seem tank-like. Anyway, so for people that grind a lot, big update to rifts. We already see here level 45 rifts unlocked, which have the chance to give gold tier XP balls. So we can upgrade characters better, This rocks. Love it. But there's new benefits to using multiple boosters at the same time. I like that a lot. Additionally, if you take on a rift at the highest difficulty, you get a little boost of tension points and Kane. We like that a lot. How many boosters can you use? It only shows one right there, but we know there's an arrow. So like maybe 3, hopefully 5. Done now. But the fact is like, okay, I'm about to hit cap on my boosters. Need to use all those real quick. Good change. Everyone's going to love it. I see literally no downsides. I cannot say the same for the par system update, but just hear them out. I will actually read this because I find it very interesting. We'll be changing the specifications to par to partially remove the tier restrictions so that substats will be inherited if the tier is higher than the Patamon selected at the time of use. We understand that change may have some mixed reactions, understandable, due to the increased frequency of Kane conception. However, we're making this change to maintain their motivation to explore the overworld and get for Patamons that way. So let me briefly explain what's the meta of Tribe 9. There is no reason to use anything under than a tier 8 Patamon. If we're talking about like the back or like the wings of a Patamon, that is the highest attack, sure. The other 2 stats are also great. You get defense and HP, but there's really no incentive to explore the overworld. There's no incentive to like go around and, you know, seek out chests, fight normal enemies. Once you've done all the content, you just hang around the safe zones and you don't go outside. They are like, okay, well, you know, guys, we don't want that. We spent a lot of time working on this world, right? Started doing some changes. And I think this is a good thing for a variety of reasons. One, eventually we were going to stockpile too much Kane to where it was never going to be a problem. Currently, I've spent like a lot of Kane upgrading my characters. I'm at 7 million. That's not good. That is not good for the game balance. That's not, you know, we need a sink for Kane, and the par system is that to an extent, but you don't really use up as many par as you might think if it's only limited to Fractal Vice. Now it seems like it will be consumed more. Every time you open up a chest, you could potentially get really good Patamon. For those who don't know, it's not technically impossible for a Vice floor to give you a golden chest and, you know, give you a character enhancement, right? That is specific to that character. But they're a lot more common outside of Fractal Vice. So the theory now is, hey, for those who really want to min-max, yes, you can get a absolutely crazy, potentially, you know, higher like power Patamon that gives you a specific character's stat enhanced. I think it's a good change for those people that just want that like endless treadmill effect. I get it. Not bad. I understand it. Also, Patamon filtering feature. We don't have this right now. It stinks. Good change. Let's add that. Maybe like a favorite system. Like a little heart. Like that one's important. I don't know. We already have the lock, but you know. Also, they're adding what seems to be a cash shop for certain skins. You missed out on the Battle Pass skins. I guess you can buy them with paid Enigma entities. Nice. The devs do need money. If they just want to buy the skin outright, I think it'll let them. I don't know. Anyway, there's also considerable updates to be talked about for the update after the chapter update. So this is version 1.111. We're heading into 1.10. So this is a little bit farther out, but a lot of this information was very interesting to me. They're separating the Red Limit series from Fractal Vice itself. So currently in-game, there are 2 bosses. They are brutal for your average player. Now I want to think, bro, I beat them all the time. So do I. But the fact is, we're not everybody, okay? So there's Backgammon and there's Solitaire. Solitaire has a move that if you do not parry, essentially destroys your entire team. Unless you have considerable shields, unless you have considerable like investment in defensive and healing. This is just a straight up fact. That is brutal because he is at the basement floor 5. You get all the way down there, and if you cannot take him on and you miss that parry, it's going to take 20 minutes to get back, and you probably forgot the timing by the time you get back to it. Frankly, I love the Fractal Vice bosses, but the way they are positioned right now is it's going to drive some players away that just want to get that weekly chest, get that weekly bonus, upgrade their characters a little bit more. This makes sense. So I go into extreme detail, but you know, they're adding a map. This is my most requested feature, and it does show exactly how many chests are left in each path, so you can strategize. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Additionally, to speed things up, once you beat a gatekeeper on a Fractal Vice floor, that gatekeeper for the week is, you know, not destroyed, but like you don't have to worry about getting that key again. So you can quickly just progress through Fractal Vice if you're just speed running it and just kind of get all the golds, right? Now, back to the Fractal boss, like placement. I'm gonna be honest, I've read this twice. I'm not totally clear what the intentions are with this boss. From what I'm understanding, this will be the easiest change. And this is why I think they might be implementing, but then later on they say like, hey, we're removing it from like progression. So I don't know. What I think they should have done is you get to basement floor 5, you can skip straight to floor 5 again. Once per week, if you get to if you want to just rematch it, like, oh, just let me try one more time. I don't want to go through the whole maze again. That's all I think they need to change. But it sounds like, yes, we are taking that boss and putting it to other content. I don't know, but we'll have to see. What else are they adding? So yes, they're changing this. So in Hegemony tier of, you know, Fractal Vice, revising the overall difficulty. Enemies will become significantly stronger as you go into deeper layers. I think that's good. I mean, the level 46 enemies right now, you sneeze on them, they die. We're also removing all rifts for returning within the floors. To return, you'll need to clear the boss floor that matches your current level. Okay, so we're talking about the green exits. Instead of Red Limit series bosses, you'll encounter ferocious enemies and familiar foes like Brave Diver and Shark from your previous adventures. Some of these bosses may exceed levels typically available in normal play. Oh, okay. Ensuring challenges familiar opponent. Okay. Good change. I think a lot of the issue with, like, you know, level 50 players right now is that, yes, we are just not, we're fighting level 45s. There does seem to be a level difference issue with Tribe 9. So if the Fractal Vice bosses from now on have like level 55, then we won't be able to do this. My mouth is watering just looking at all those chests. Holy no. Anyway, clearing a boss floor causes 2 types of chests to appear. Luxurious chests with a quantity determined by your score at that point, and one special chest, which sends items you get once per week, just like before. Different from the chests found normally on the floors, the score-based luxury chest can be obtained repeatedly on subsequent clears. Oh. So is this potentially... I mean, we're just going to be drowning in chests if this is an addition. This is crazy, actually. I keep hitting my mic. This change aims to prevent a situation where players could clear the original Fractal Vice without problem, but the deepest level might only be able to clear up to floor 2. Okay, so they're like, hey, if you can somehow only do floor 1, we still want to reward you. Which is true, right? Like, to me, like, this was my progression in Fractal Vice, right? This is why I think it was not a bad mode. You go in there, you maybe lose to the boss, but you got some tier 8s. And those tier 8s make you more defensive, make you do a little more damage. Maybe get some good golden substats. Then you keep going until you're just, you know, you got tons of tier 8s. You finally take down that boss. Wasn't a bad system. But it seems like now they're just like, well, that wasn't working out, so let's change it. So as mentioned previously, Fractal Vice section, the Red Limit series will be repositioned as a separate challenge content, detached from conquering Fractal Vice. So despite them having the red room, I guess they're out. It's just not working out. Therefore, the special chest will be allow you to raise your character and beyond can now be obtained by clearing Fractal Vice without having to defeat the Red Limit series. Okay. Interesting. As I mentioned in the previous director's layer, we position the Red Limit series as purely a challenge content. This aims to further clarify that policy. But I guess the issue is, yeah, nobody likes the fact like, oh, my character progression is locked behind these bosses I can't fight. Darn it. It's like, well, how do I get stronger to beat them? Oh, I need the chest that they drop. Well, crud, that isn't, you know, it's just this never-ending loop of, like, suffering. But speaking of suffering, they've added a heads-up display to signify when, I guess, the Fractal Vice boss is doing their strongest deadly attack. Just be like, yo, this is a big one. You got dodge. Makes sense. And I think they're yeah, you're going for Saigo. They're onto us. They know what we were doing in there. Essentially, if you take too much damage in rapid succession, you get a debuff, increasing your damage even more. These fatal attacks, brutal. And they say right here, hey, if you've already mastered like the mechanics, this isn't really going to affect you. But it's just to be a little more clear that yes, this is a big attack, and you cannot cheese with Roku anymore or Saigo. That's from the sounds of things. We'll see. But we got some other balance news. I'll just roughly go over this. They said like straight up, we did not think people would even get to level 50, which I find interesting. I'm like, the game rocked. The game, like, how could I can't even put the game down. So like, hey, we made the current system with level 40 in mind. We didn't think people would get to level 50 that fast. And so the tension card system had to be changed. You know, characters are a little too strong right now. That's pretty much the gist of this giant wall of text. That being said, recognize that those who prioritize enjoying the story, we still want people to enjoy it, okay? Therefore, we plan to distribute the difficulty across the game's main 4 pillars: story progression, post-story content, Fractal Vice as endgame content, and the Red Limit series. So now we got 4 modes, essentially, if you count story as a mode, which I do. So if you just want to enjoy this game as a purely visual novel, the story mode should not be that hard. I agree with this. I think this is a good take. It shouldn't be a walk in the park, but like a happy medium, right? Hills and valleys. You know what I'm saying? Take on into account the update will reduce the number of enemies or areas that are part of the main story progression. Oh yeah. Because I'm thinking about my live streams, right, that we did, like clearing out the main story. We were fighting mobs for a minute. There's a lot of fights. And I'm gonna be honest, going into chapter 3, I don't know if they're like there's a lot of fights, sure, but like, are they gonna challenge me? I don't know. How fast am I gonna kill them? We have no idea. Particularly, we're adding, yeah, they're talking about like, yo, Shark was too hard. I knew that. I called that. People were like, no, it's not. No, it is. It is too hard for the first true boss in the game, right? Good change. And we got a roadmap. I'm just gonna make this bigger. This roadmap is insane. Like I'm trying to check out what like other, games did around like this time. This is a lot of content. Big story patch coming in the middle of the month. Rock on. I love that. I love that. New character. It seems like 3 new bosses. But I think that boss is just that boss. I don't know. We'll find out. Improvements. 9 log. Is this the neon calls? I don't know. Like the text message between the tiers? That would be a good idea because some of those are really funny. I'd love to read them again. You can. They're changing how a riff work, par rework, and many more to come. We get a peek at Nosuke Akiba. Their brother and sister. Oh wait, they're all oh my gosh. But we know about the Otori family. Oh, I don't want to say anything, but this is dramatic. Can you say it? Okay. And we got special content. Gee, I wonder who this boss is. Please let me rematch them. And new side story stuff. Also, new events. Hey, check out this bald fat guy. Okay, I guess I will. And looks like Chapter 4 due sometime in July. Late July. Would seem reasonable with the amount of stuff we're getting. It looks like we find some Megazord. Cool, more giant robots. I love that. Anyway, just talking about the roadmap. In addition, we plan to have more somewhat smaller events every 1 to 2 weeks. So maybe no 3D models, no like, crazy stuff like Lex Phantasma, but like, read the story about this overworked salaryman getting his groove back. Get back in the dating game. That could be funny. I'm down. That's not confirmed, of course, just my headcanon, but that could be cool. Frankly, I loved Lex Phantasma. Awesome story, awesome mode. More of that, please. It was the first content in the game where I'm like, this isn't a boss fight. I don't care. That rocked. That rocked. Regarding side stories, including, we received a lot of positive feedback. Good, it rules. And there'll be larger. They're planning to make some of this permanent content. We like that. Everyone hates FOMO. We get it, but man. Additionally, they worked on the map. Oh my gosh, that is so helpful. If this is the zone I think it is, yeah, it is. Oh my goodness. I still see comments on the subreddit every single day. How do I get in this part? It's like, bro, yeah, the map needed some work. After this patch, dude, what else does Tribe 9 need other than like new modes and new bosses to fight? Because the foundation is so solid. Goodness. Also, they're, I'm just going to say it right out. They're like, hey, we're very positive on Steam. Thank you very much. If you've not given them a good review on Steam, please do that. I do not think this game had the most optimal launch despite its quality. So do that if you can. And additionally, they've announced some buffs to the least used characters, which are Q, Yakucha. This one blows my mind because I think this guy's hidden overpowered, but anyway, and Minami Oi makes sense. I see nobody talking about these characters. I see nobody running these characters other than in XB mode. Good change. They're also addressing some... They don't feel like the Transcendence effects are that impactful. This has got me worried because keep in mind, those are, well, the things you dupe for. And for 2 stars, I feel like they are very strong. Right? Like, these are very, like, game-changing effects. Not game warping, but definitely change your approach to the character, how you build the character retention cards. Solid. But yeah, so, like, other than, you know, Semba, who's got really strong uncaps or transcendences? I don't know. Really, Kazuki's are just whatever, right? The other 5 stars, I mean, I don't know. Could be worse. I thought they were in a decent spot. I don't know. But I guess like people aren't duping. They're hoarding. They don't want that. Anyways, brief little update of what to expect in Tribe 9 patch coming in, what, like a week and some change? Oh my goodness, I gotta get working. But seriously, they're putting a lot of effort into like, hey, we're sorry Fractal Vice is miserable. Let's give it another try. And that's good to hear, because I feel like a lot more people are at that point in time in like the gameplay. But what will change with Fractal Vice? Will it be a good change? Will it introduce new problems? Or is it going to be beloved by everybody and everyone just gets sick fat loot? Yeah, it's sick. I don't know. We'll find out. Thanks so much, everybody, for checking out this little, I don't know, I guess just like director letter recap, or just like talking about my thoughts on it. We're talking about my coverage. Of course, we're going to have a Hina guide. I have enough resources to pull the character and max her out from like, you know, just as soon as I physically can. And then I'll have a day or two to like figure out her abilities and where she works inside of a team. They're saying she's a tank. We shall see. I'm skeptical on that. I think she can work in a lot of situations with that defense shred, but that is all the time I got for today. Thank you so much. We're going to be streaming the new chapter. We're going to be streaming probably just like a lot of new content in general. So subscribe to this channel and the main channel if you'd be so kind. Until next time, more videos coming soon. Bye.